What up, y'all? Y'all seen the thumbnail and the title of this video, so we're gonna jump right in. What is in my camera bag? Golf content edition. I'm doing this video again. This is obviously a question that I get asked a ton throughout my platforms. People always want to know what I'm shooting with, what lens, camera, what I'm editing, and all that good stuff to get the quality that I'm getting out of my system and setup. So I figured we just jump on here real quick, redo this video so it can kind of live on the platform in the updated content space. There has been some slight changes too. So I think last time we talked about, I had the A7S III with the 50mm lens. It's a similar setup, so it's not too far off. So we're just gonna jump right in. But first, before we get to the camera, we didn't do this last time, but I'm gonna show you guys the camera bag that I'm rocking. Now this is the Peter McKinnon Nomadic camera travel backpack. This thing is a beast. It's a literal tank. It's huge, and wouldn't necessarily recommend jumping in and getting something like this right off the bat, especially if you're just trying to like tug around a solo camera lens and maybe some microphones. This is a pretty big backpack, but I've loved this backpack. It's probably been one of the best backpacks that I've used to date in all the years that I've been into the camera space, for a lot of different reasons, but mainly it's just really durable. It's very sturdy, it's high quality, and it carries a lot of camera equipment in this thing. Don't want to spend too much time on this, but this was a $500 backpack when I first bought it, when it came out 3-4 years ago. Seen it on sale as of late for about $420. That just goes to show you it kind of holds its value, still being this old. So again, don't necessarily recommend you guys going on buying something like this. I would say stick within that $50 to $100 price point in terms of a camera bag. You want to get something nice enough to where it's not going to break down and tear up on you within the first couple months of using it, but also, you know, getting your cameras to and from places securely. All right, now, so before we get into the camera equipment, I want to put a quick disclaimer out there that for those of you that didn't watch the last video that I put out regarding this topic, I am a full-time filmmaker. I do this for a living. So the camera equipment that I'm going to show you guys right now is not something that I would actually recommend. If you guys want to wait till the end of the video, I can tell you guys, give you guys some links to some camera equipment that I would rather purchase if I was like just getting started off with content creation and filming golf content and things of that nature. Actually, I'm not gonna have you guys wait till the end of the video. Matter of fact, there's a link in the description. It's in my Amazon storefront. I actually made a list. So if you click into the Amazon storefront, there's a category there that says beginner camera equipment for the golf content creator or something along those lines. So if you click into that, you'll see a full list of different type of cameras and lenses that I recommend you guys get, more for the budget friendly options. We're not gonna dive too deep into that stuff in this video, but I just wanna quickly go over what I'm using. So if you guys have questions on anything that's on that list and you want me to like do a deep dive and like cover it extensively, I absolutely can do that. Just let me know in the comment section below and I'll be happy to make that video for you guys. But yeah, so if you guys wanna go ahead and click on that link in the description below, you'll show you guys. It also have a bunch of other different categories of all the camera equipment that I'm going to talk about today, and just some other golf accessories and some other miscellaneous things that I use on a day-to-day basis. So if you buy through those Amazon links, I will get a small kickback. So I appreciate you guys if you do decide to buy through those links. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get right into the camera equipment. So last time I did this video was a little over a year ago at this point. The camera body that I was using at that time was actually the Sony A7S III. This is the Sony FX3. So the A7S III, we broke it. We was out filming golf content one day and the girlfriend had the camera. It was mounted up on a monopod. The screen was open and she didn't clamp it down securely enough. And that thing tipped over, landed on the screen like that, and it completely broke it. And the screen was just kind of dangling. Still works miraculously, but you just can't see anything on the LCD screen. So you have to use the viewfinder. Probably still should get it fixed, but I just ended up buying another FX3. So what I was doing at the time was I had two cameras, basically two video cameras. One was a Sony A7S III that I just talked about. The other one was the FX3. I was using the FX3 for my client work, and the Sony A7S III was just like a B cam and just like my main golf content creation cam. So I was just like able to kind of, you know, use that freely without worrying about breaking it or whatnot. So when that went down, I ended up picking up another one. So now we just have two of the exact same camera bodies, which I've always kind of wanted, especially when I do client work and professional work, it's just nice to have an A cam and a B cam that is exactly the same quality and specs. So now one is just going to be my dedicated golf content creation camera, and this is also going to serve as a B camera to my client work. So again, don't necessarily recommend you guys going out and buying something like this just to get started in the golf content creation space. One, because this is a $4,200 camera body. Probably get this on sale at some Amazon site, or wait for some deals. You can probably get it as low as like $3,800 that I've seen. It's only like a $400 difference, but it is a very expensive camera body. And what you get when you pay $4,000 is you only get the camera body and a battery. That's it. You don't get nothing else. So you obviously need a lens and an SD card in order to make this thing work. And transition nicely, the lens of choice is, my favorite lens of all time is the Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master lens. Now this is my favorite focal length. It's been my favorite focal length for a really long time, ever since I got into the content creation space. There's just something about it where it gives me that really, really good compression and also a really nice blurry background, because this is a f1.2 G Master lens. The 1.2 meaning the aperture, meaning it can stop down really low. So the lower that number, the more blurry your background can get. So I don't know if you guys are looking at this image right now. I'm actually filming on a 50mm right now, but this is the 1.4 version. So kind of similar, but 1.2, you can stop down even lower, a couple stops. So yeah, for me, I just really like that setup, that combination. Especially for me, I love cinematic looking footage, and this is the setup that I've been kind of rocking with. Now, just to kind of quickly go into how I make this thing operate. When you're outside and you're filming golf content in broad daylight, obviously stopping down to a f1.2 or 1.4 would make your image really, really bright. So because of that, and because I like shooting in low aperture, I bought a ND filter. Now, if you guys don't know what an ND filter is, it basically stands for neutral density filter, and it basically cuts down light so you're able to stop down to a lower aperture, in layman's terms, right? Well, actually, in layman's terms, it's basically sunglasses for your camera lens. And the last time I did this video, I was showing you guys that I was rocking the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro 2 to 5 stop ND filter. And recently I switched over to this Freewell 3 to 7 stop version 2 ND filter. And the main reason why I switched over to this bad boy was because of the magnetic capabilities. So for me, having it magnetic, it just makes it that much easier to kind of move this thing around and put this on, take it off. So when you put this on, boom, just like that, and you have this little screw on the back, on the side of it, you kind of tie it down, and then you can just plop it off, and then you have your neutral density filter. So super helpful, and it's super easy, super convenient to get this thing on and off. And it is a 3 to 7 stop, which is a little bit darker, so you can go a little bit darker than the 2 to 5 stop. So it makes it even better in broad daylight, because I'm able to put this even higher and stop down with my aperture even lower. Now, if you want to go that route, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you guys do that, and here's why. Because if you are golfing and you're creating your own golf content and you're like a one-man band and you're setting up tripods and doing all that stuff, it's going to be very hard, because with a 1.2 aperture, it's very hard to get focus, right? So you want to need somebody manning the camera. My girlfriend shoots all my golf content, so she's behind the camera. I taught her how to use all this stuff, so it makes it a lot easier for me to play golf, because not only am I getting really, really good looking footage, and it's the I'm also not having to worry about setting up the camera and worrying about if the framing is right, if I'm in focus and all that good stuff. So helps to have somebody out there with you manning the camera. So again, this is the setup that I don't necessarily recommend. Also too, this is a 50mm prime lens. Prime meaning that it's 50mm, that's all you get. You cannot zoom in and out with this thing. So if you want to get closer, you have to physically move the camera forward and backwards. That's how you zoom. So I would actually recommend you guys going with a zoom lens if you guys are getting started off, just because you have way more flexibility, because, you know, Some of these golf courses, when you're on the tee box, you don't have that much room in the back of you, so you can go with a wider focal length. I've told my friends that wanted to get into the content creation space to get something like one of my favorite focal lengths as far as zoom lenses for that is like a 24 to 105, because you have a ton of flexibility. 24 millimeter, you get really wide, and you got the 105 to get really tight for your detail shots. So that's one of the things that I would recommend, the lens that I would recommend you guys starting off with. But it still is a little bit pricey. I think that's over like $1,000. Again, all these recommendations going to be in the description box below and that Amazon storefront link. So if you guys want to check that out, browse through that. And if you guys have any questions on anything that's in that list, again, let me know, and I can come back, either do a video or just answer it in the comment section and let you guys know and get you guys off on the right foot. So yeah, that's the camera. I also have a drone that I take with me on almost every shoot and golf round, just in case I want to get this thing up, get some dope aerial footage, especially if I'm doing a YouTube video. It's always nice to have some good aerial footage to kind of break up your story a little bit and get a little bit more production value out of it. This is the DJI Mavic 3. This drone is about 3 years old at this point now, 2 to 3 years old, probably older than that, honestly. It's been a really long time, but it's held up really nicely. I love this thing. It does everything that I need it to do, and I'm not doing any kind of crazy work with it other than, like, you know, some client work here and there, but I haven't really needed to upgrade it as of late. But if you guys are out there and you guys want a drone, especially if you want a DJI drone, I would recommend you guys getting on that and buying one as soon as you possibly can, because the government and DJI having some issues right now in terms of, you know, just some issues in terms of like security, all that type of stuff. So I think that if something doesn't happen within the next month or two, these DJI drones are going to get completely banned in the United States. So buy one now and you have to worry about it. My advice to you guys. All right, move that to the side. And then we'll talk about audio. Now, audio is a big one. I mean, it's a big one, but it's pretty standard nowadays. There's a ton of companies out there that has wireless microphones. I use the DJI Mic 2s. I've been using these for the past couple of years. They've worked really, really well, and there's honestly, the DJI Mic 3s just dropped, and there's some cool features about that too, which makes me intriguing to get those. But also been thinking about switching it up and going with a different company in terms of upgrading these things. And I'm almost at the point of making my decision, so I'm probably going to make a buying decision and a purchase here pretty soon. And then when those new bikes come in, I'll show you guys what I bought and then show you guys how, you know, those work and how I feel about them. I'm a little skeptical because I haven't purchased this brand before, but, you know, we'll see what happens. But DJI mics, yeah, pretty standard. I mean, DJI mics are the staple in the whole content creation space these days. You're seeing these mics everywhere. And the cool thing about them is the reason why I like the Mic 2s over the Mic 1 is because of the internal 32-bit float file capabilities. Now, if you don't know what 32-bit float is, it's basically like a whole safety net for your audio. So if you're out there and you're playing golf and you get really loud at a point and like it's hurting the people's ears and they can't necessarily hear you, then you'll be able to fix that in post. Where if you were just recording into the camera natively and just relying on that audio, if it gets really loud or really low and you try to like mess with the audio in post, you're not going to be able to recover it as well as 32-bit float. So if you guys want an example of that, I can tell you. I'm just not going to do it in this video because I don't want this video to be too long. But yeah, those are the mics that I'm using. And when I'm using these mics, I don't necessarily like to have this thing clipped on my shirt or on my hat. I've seen that too often, and I come from the world, again, I'm a professional filmmaker. I come from a world where we try to hide the mics as much as possible. So with that being said, when I use these mics, I am typically using a lavalier mic. So I run these cords through my shirt, and then I just clip this part to the polo or my shirt or whatever. And sometimes I even tape it to my chest just to hide it, get it out of the way. And I don't know, for me, it's just a little bit more professional looking that way. And instead of having this thing on your shirt and pulling you down and having to worry about this thing falling off and losing it. And honestly too, I feel like, it's not even that I feel like, I know, at least to my ears, that using a lavalier mic, it actually sounds a lot better too. So that's that. That's the microphone. And last but not least, my cart cam setup. So if you guys see me on some of my YouTube videos, I have a cart cam. So I used a GoPro suction cup mount, and I just kind of mount this to the glass of the cart cam. And this camera that is on top of it is actually the Insta360 Ace Pro. The reason why I go with the Ace Pro over the GoPro is, for me, it just seems like, I feel like the Ace Pro video quality is just a little bit better, or it's just I prefer it better. And this little flip out screen is clutch, because when this thing is on the glass like that, you can actually see what the camera's seeing. So you can just make sure, one, that it's on, two, that it's recording, and three, that you and your writing partner is in frame and it's not like doing anything crazy. So it's just a little bit peace of mind, but you know, we love that. I believe that's it. Quick little bonus. So I did tell you guys that I have 2 of these FX3s, and I use one of them for client work, and I have like a full cinema rig build. So I'll show you guys that just to kind of have some fun with it. So this is my go-to workhorse. So if I'm out shooting client work, this is the camera that I have in my hand. Again, the exact same camera as this, the exact same camera body, but the only difference is I just rigged it out. So on the back of this thing is what's called a Cineback. This is basically have a bunch of mounting points and power sources. So you can put a V-mount battery on the back of this thing, and I can power the camera and the monitor at the same time off one battery, and the battery lasts pretty much all day. So I don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, popping out Sony camera batteries too often, because these little things don't last too long, especially if you're out shooting in the daylight, shooting in 4K 24, 4K 60. They run out pretty fast. So I think in a 18-hole golf round, I probably would go through 2, maybe 3 of these a round. And probably like 2, more like 2, maybe a little bit of the third one. But if I had a V-mount battery and I had this thing, it'll last the entire round, pretty much an all-day shoot. So this is what I use when I'm out shooting client work. I obviously don't use this when I'm shooting golf content, just because the size of it. And again, my girlfriend shoots my golf content, so I don't want to give her something that's super bulky and big. But just to kind of show you guys, that's the camera rig. Super clutch. So I have the Portkeys monitor on the top of it, Cineback camera cage, a little small rig handle, and that's what basically makes up my camera cage. I mean, just shooting content in general with a camera like this, a lot of the times these LCD screens are typically really bad. So it's like, you'll be shooting it and you'll think it's perfectly exposed, but just probably like way overexposed. So that's why I always recommend, especially if you're doing client work and professional work, always shoot with a monitor, just because you'll be able to see clearly what you're actually looking at. You'll be able to get focus a lot better. And these camera monitors are super bright in terms of your nits. So broad daylight, sun's hitting it, you can still see the camera screen crystal clear. And as opposed to the LCD screen, if the camera's hitting it, it just looks really dark, really hard to see. So yeah, man. So that's the video. Again, I don't want to make this video too long. It looks like I made it a little longer than I wanted to. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, put them in the comment section below, and I'll be down there answering you guys' questions. And make sure you guys check out that link on the Amazon storefront. There's a bunch of camera equipment that is down in that link that I would recommend if I was getting started off in golf content creation. And like I said, if you guys have any questions about that stuff, let me know in the comment section below. It's all Sony products, because Sony is the only thing that I've ever used. So that's the only thing that I can really recommend. But if you have questions about any other brand, I have a little bit of knowledge, and I can be able to tell you from personal experience in terms of the specs that it has and all that fun stuff. So we're going to sign off. Until next time, YouTube, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.